Hi. So obviously I was going to lead the march this morning, but instead they let me say a few words. But first of all, I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that's here, and thank you for letting me be here. It's an honor. It's an honor to join the chorus, to be among the many powerful voices here to represent the wave of change we have seen sweep this country, the world, by fire. That is why I am so honored to stand here with you all now, to join in this great collection of voices, dedicated to not only realizing the tremendous power we possess when we come together, but to do so with the unprecedented strength and power we've acquired through our combined commitment and relentless dedication. We are here to make sure we recognize all the power we have when we come together, all the progress we made in doing so, and to recognize how much we still have to go to see that full equality, that's full equality, is a reality for all of us. In the home and at work, in our schools and in the boardrooms, in our pay and our physical safety, in public and in private, in principle and in practice, no matter our age, our race, creed, color, or class. A few years ago, I, like you, awoke to a world that was starting to catch flame. It started slowly. I arose from my bed one day, a few years into my own private battle, and I smelled the smoke. I had for years walked with tired and weary feet into battle every single day, alone, privately, longing for a different kind of world than the one in which I used to live. One that reminded me that despite all that I had done and fought for, all I had said and survived before and through my very public, heart-wrenchingly lonely battle for justice, that I, a woman, would never truly see it. That my voice couldn't fully count. That despite what it took for me to stand up and finally raise my voice and to speak my truth, it didn't really matter. The deck was stacked against me in ways I couldn't even begin to imagine. I learned what many women inherently know before they reach adulthood, that in my speaking out, instead of aid, support, respect, I would be met instead with hostility, skepticism, and shame. My motives would be questioned, my truth ignored, and I would do so alone. That world reminded me daily, despite the privileged life I lived as a white woman in the entertainment industry, despite the tremendous luxuries enjoyed by many of us women and otherwise traditionally marginalized groups in the Western developed world, despite all the steps taken and earned by generations before us, that I was never to be anything but a discreetly silenced second-class citizen. That I, in having stood up against the time-honored legacy of a male-dominated power structure, somehow forfeited that perceived privilege in exchange for a seemingly endless life of relentless struggle, denial, shame, and aloneness. That is the price many of us know we have to make in raising our voices. And that's why so many of us don't speak up. We know intuitively, long before we are old enough to vote, that kind of freedom isn't really ours unless we accept that condition. That freedom from us comes at all too high a price. Our voice. And I, for one, think silence and acceptance is simply too damn high a price to pay. Along with democracy, we get the concept of freedom of speech from the Greeks, who said parrhesia, which means not simply freedom of speech per se, but rather fearless speech. The freedom to speak truth to power. Freedom to speak truth to power. And to me, that is freedom. That is equality. When we no longer have to forfeit our dignity, our respect, or our safety in order to do just that. Then a flame was ignited, and it caught the world on fire. And I am here today in that, to join my voice with yours in recognizing that times are changing. And they are changing because we stepped out of the shadows and into the light and lifted our voices into a movement, recognizing that we, together, standing shoulder to shoulder, comprise a vast, unstoppable force for change. No longer willing or able to accept silence, and no longer willing or able to pay the cost for anything less. You, like me, see yourself not as a victim to this world, but rather as a member of it, of a growing class of women, people, committed to our place in the fight for a new one. You, like me, awoke to a world that was and is changing and was changing fast. I woke up to the smell of smoke and the sound of voices. I walked with tired feet into the stream of moving cries for change, chanting a battle cry that lingers still today, a song of a new era. This is the song of a new generation of voices, minds, of people, daughters of a generation of equality. We have inherited far too much to be resigned to accept injustice, and together we are far too strong to excuse it any longer. I want to thank you all today for being here and being a part of changing our world. I want to thank every one of you who wakes up and looks for the flame and the sounds of chanting and thinks, yes, fuck yes, enough is enough, time is up, me too, our lives matter. It is worth fighting for a world where things are better, where things are more fair for everyone. People like who I am honored to stand here and welcome to the stage next. West Hollywood Mayor Pro Tempore Lindsay Horvath, a warrior for civic and social justice. She has spearheaded policies to better serve residents of all ages and created the West Hollywood Community Response Team for Domestic Violence. Mayor Pro Tempore is a leader on women's issues, leading a global campaign to end violence against women and girls. She also champions for LGBTQ rights and represented the city of West Hollywood in the National Equality March in Washington, D.C. In short, she's a badass. And she is working tirelessly to make our communities safer, healthier, and more inclusive. Please welcome Mayor Pro Tempore Lindsay Lorbeck.